Well, it didn't take long. Everyone who was panicking, trigger happy, dumping stocks, all kinds of securities, scared about Trump, tariffs, and China, has left the chat. President Donald J. Trump posting this: "Don't worry about China. It will all be fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression, as in a depression, for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. President Donald J. Trump." A couple of days ago, I warned everybody, in short, just fucking relax, bro. They're negotiating. Chill. And here we are. And from one Trump to another, here's Eric Trump and Piers Morgan talking Elon Musk.
We saw Elon Musk and your father briefly having a sort of rapprochement after their big falling out. I mean, has there been any development on that? Do you think they'll be back working together, or was that just to kind of, after the war, a little peace offering and they move on?
Well, I was right there. I was in that same picture that you probably saw, and it was fun to see them back together. Listen, Elon represents the best of what we do as Americans better than anybody in the world, which is entrepreneurialism. And, the fact that he's catching these rockets using, these chopsticks. And, I mean, he's incredible at everything he does. We need 200 Elon Musks. I'm the biggest proponent of his and everything that he stands for. And, there's no one who's more into the Doge initiative than Eric Trump, right? Is how I run our company and is how, any capitalist, thinks. But no, I think fundamentally they love and appreciate each other. And, listen, they're two very big personalities, and you know how that is. I mean, you've been on the receiving end of that a couple times, Piers. I could probably count more.
Yeah,
I could probably count with you indeed. With you and my father, I could probably count more than a couple times. But at the same time, you guys still love each other, right? And,
do you know what? It's really interesting. I was talking to someone the other day actually about the Elon Musk thing, and I said, I've had spectacular fallings out with your dad. And normally, because I've said, I've criticized him or something, and he doesn't like being criticized, but he doesn't hold the grudge for very long. He does with some people, but actually most of the time I've noticed, if you just, there'll be a moment where if you go back a long way with him, he's not a long grudge guy.
No, I think that's right. Yeah, he'll see you a month later and give you a big hug. And by the way, most of the time he's actually the first person to crack a joke about the very grudge that you had.
Yes.
3 weeks earlier. So now, listen, this country needs Elon Musk. This world needs Elon Musk. The Western civilization certainly needs him. They also need a Donald Trump, and I think those guys are a formidable team, and I think they have massive admiration and respect for one another.
Imagine the world with 200 Elon Musks. I think population collapse would be solved, so too many other problems. And it is nice to see Elon Musk getting credit where it's due. At the moment, not just in the US, but especially there seems to be the political right happy to acknowledge the importance of entrepreneurs, of job creation, of taking risks, setting audacious goals and pursuing them. That entrepreneurial spirit, alive, well, held up, recognised and praised from the political right. Most on the left at this point in time, however, have received the message that Elon banned. So on one hand, you'll have somebody like Eric Trump and Piers Morgan, Elon's a G, phenomenal entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. And then on the left, you have somebody like Alexandra Occasional Cortex, who quite recently called Elon Musk a con man, suggested he wasn't a real engineer. You got Senator Karen, I better not say that, YouTube doesn't like the C-bomb, attacking him relentlessly. You've got morons like Bernie Sanders, who probably means well, but his entire world philosophy is utterly brain-dead, catastrophically counterproductive. Attacking Musk and his on-paper net wealth as if it's a problem. He's created a huge amount of jobs at an enormous amount of value of companies he's created, owns a slice of, gone up enormously, and somehow that's bad. Keeping in mind, though, that Bernie's target demographic are low IQ, recent university graduates, and permanently unemployed Reddit moderators who've never worked a day in their lives, don't understand hard work, capitalism, adding value in the marketplace. They just want everything for free, want a handout. But regardless, given the fact that most of the mainstream media leans left, and Elon has a huge target on his back because he's been so successful, it's just nice to see when he actually gets the credit. Imagine an alien visits Earth, scours the entire internet, devours everything, learns everything there is to know, including what Elon Musk has done. But then actually looks at all the coverage, the discussion, what's being said about Elon Musk, and discovers that half the planet, not actually half, it's a fraction of that, but hey, let's just pretend. The entire political left, in essence, attacks the guy, hates the guy, derides the guy, diminishes him, devalues what he's done, attacks his character, calls him a liar, a con man, a fake engineer, volunteers his time at great personal risk to help the Department of Government Efficiency save huge amounts of waste of taxpayer dollars in the US. People start firebombing Tesla dealerships. The only possible conclusion this alien could draw is this civilization is fucked. But it's not all bad. Franz von Holzhausen, posted this Model S in Time's top 25 inventions of the past 25 years. That ain't bad. So this is the Time Best Inventions Hall of Fame. 25 most iconic inventions that they've covered since 2000. We won't look through every single one of these unless you want to pause while I'm scrolling. I will note though, in 2006, YouTube, their top invention. I think that's fair. By the way, how long have you actually been using YouTube? I think 2006 was the first time I posted a video. YouTube launched prior to then, I think it was 05. And my first use of YouTube, other than watching content, of course, I was actually uploading videos that I was filming at very obscure heavy metal shows, some of which strangely had staggering numbers of views back then. A couple of videos with terrible audio quality, terrible video quality, terrible camera work, obscure death metal bands from some country that were touring Australia, doing over 100, sometimes 200,000 views. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with YouTube? Not kidding, by the way. I go to a show, there'd be like 110, 120, 130 people in the audience. Post a video of the headline act at the show that had less than 150 people in the audience, and somehow half the fucking planet would actually watch the video. So even back then, enormous reach. Some of the most obscure stuff. iPhone made the list in 2007. NASA's Curiosity rover, shout out to Mars. And the following year, 2012, the Tesla Model S. Let's read what they had to say. Tesla has been a leading force in the efforts to develop electric vehicles. That's true. Turns out when they said their mission was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, and they were starting obviously with transportation, they meant it, and they've been successful. The 2012 debut of its Model S marked a new moment, though its Roadster had been around for years and was on Time's list in 2006 and 2008. Of the Model S, Time wrote in 2012, quote, "This electric four-door sedan has the lines of a Jaguar, the ability to zip for 265 miles on one charge, and touchscreen controls for everything from GPS navigation to adjusting the suspension." I will just jump in here and note, remember, 2007, the Apple iPhone debuts. Took a few years before it really began to take off. Within half a decade, Model S is not just conceived of or unveiled, but on sale and selling to consumers with a touchscreen control for everything. By the way, just adding, still today, there are many legacy automotive manufacturers who, for whatever reason, are under the impression that consumers can't handle a touchscreen for controlling a device. Therefore, they need physical knobs and dials and buttons still. 13 years after it became obvious that a touchscreen interface in a vehicle was perfectly adequate, in fact, vastly superior to a clusterfuck of buttons, many morons today still aren't fully all in on the touchscreen. Unbelievable. Time continues. The car proved a game-changing advance for electric vehicles, expanding driving range and making them an exciting alternative to their gas-powered predecessors. Its success nudged competitors to make their own EVs more enticing, and Tesla capitalized on its head start, continuing to develop its tech and create new cars, including 2017's Model 3, which also made Time's list. And the Model S, for those of you who weren't around at the time or weren't paying that much attention to Tesla, this really was a watershed moment for the company. Tesla told everybody, with the Model S, our intent is to make the world's best vehicle. To prove that electric vehicle can be the best vehicle across the board. That was big fucking talk. But they walked the walk. They did it. I've been keeping an eye on Tesla for some time prior to this. The Model S was a moment where if you've been paying attention, you went, holy fuck, they've actually done it. The Model S, in the first 12 months of release, won just about every award ever in the automotive industry. This was long before the Elon bad narrative, by the way. Crushed everything, proving that it was possible to make an extremely compelling electric vehicle. It wasn't the best electric vehicle, it was the best vehicle. And hilariously, as I record this today, you can buy an equivalent, roughly, vehicle in terms of performance, features, functionality, although it's vastly superior on some metrics, an entry-level Model 3 for well under $39,000 US. A fraction of the initial price for a Model S. Meaningfully more range, great performance, vastly superior technology. Absolutely wild stuff. Did somebody say seamless segue to Tesla's new Model 3 standard? Edmunds posting this short clip.
So it feels much more like a traditional Tesla. I can throw it into a corner like we've got here. Apart from my stuff flying everywhere, you can see the very little body roll, really nice turning, sharp steering response. It's a really fun and engaging and sporty drive. And what about performance? Well, it's got a smaller battery than the Model 3 Premium, and it doesn't have quite as much power. But Tesla still claims 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, and while we're yet to verify that at the Edmunds test track, it feels believable. And that's only 0.9 of a second behind the premium edition. And frankly, 5.8 seconds to 60 is plenty fast enough for what is really a family car. And you still get that nice sort of Tesla punch as you put your foot down, not quite as aggressive as the premium or certainly the performance, but it still feels fast and engaging with an instantaneous wallop of torque. I like it. It's a nice compromise.
High praise there. Posted with the quote, after spending some time behind the wheel of the new Tesla Model 3 Standard, it seems clear that this is an EV that truly represents value without compromise. I do want to emphasize, Time's 2012 Invention of the Year, Tesla's Model S. Have a look on screen now. We don't need to go through all the numbers. The short story is today's Model 3 Standard range, available for a fraction the price, especially after adjusting for inflation, of the launch editions of the Model S. A few variations there, including the Model S 60 kilowatt hour version, the entry-level baseline, plus the higher performance, longer range 85 and performance P85. Today's Model 3 Standard range, available for $36,990 is roughly on par with, if not better than, all three of the launch edition Model S variations back in 2012, first orders and deliveries around mid-year for some of those models, and 2013 for the more affordable entry. Meaningfully more range, essentially the same top speed, comparable 0 to 60 time, and a fraction the price. So roughly the same specs for 1/3 the cost. Oh, but don't worry, it's not like predictable cost declines will continue over time. Therefore, the entire internal combustion engine industry is on the precipice and about to completely fucking implode. Actually, no, that's exactly what's going to happen. I've been warning you motherfuckers for a long time. I'm telling you now, we're almost there. Tesla's next-gen vehicles are produced on the modular manufacturing system. G. Oh, and just one last thing. Speaking of legacy automotive companies being completely and utterly fucked, I will never stop laughing about this absolute abomination. This was Ford. This still is Ford. Their Model Y killer, the Mustang Mach-E. Not satisfied with just copying Tesla and using a touchscreen interface for their vehicles, these absolute morons, if you ever needed just a single visual example of how fucked legacy auto companies are, it's on screen right now. These absolute fuckwits go, yeah, well, I'm in a touchscreen, obviously. That's a good idea, right? You know what I mean? We've all got iPhones, and Tesla seems to be selling a lot of vehicles. In fact, the world's best-selling vehicle just has a touchscreen interface, so let's copy that. But because we're retarded and don't have sufficient leadership, we're going to embed a fucking physical volume dial knob in the touchscreen. Imagine how unsure of yourself you need to be to do something this brain dead. The level of unnecessary complexity and cost here is just unfathomable. This is actually real. This is eventually going to end up in textbooks. When legacy auto companies go bankrupt, this is going to be one of the leading images going, this is when we should have known they were fucked. If this is the best solution you can come up with, you're cooked. Oh, and they are cooked, so it kind of makes sense. I'm not kidding, by the way. This image will end up in textbooks. When the books are written about the implosion of the legacy automotive industry, this will be the visual metaphor. Remember, Tesla does not exist in a vacuum. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.